on to our presentation today. We'll be looking at Dynamics 365 Business Central, and in particular we'll be looking at reports. Are we able to customize our report layouts? And without any further ado, let's get right into it. So there'll be both a short theoretical presentation that you can understand certain concept, and then from there I will look at a sample sales order confirmation report, and then we will see if we can probably put a couple of customizations onto it, and then how do we do this. So we know therefore that in any organization, it's, even though we expect that Dynamics 365 Business Central uses what we call industry standard best practice, we also know that all organizations tend not to be the same. There'll be many different reasons why you might want to customize a report, maybe because of local requirements, legal requirements within your environment, or maybe requirements within your industry, or maybe it's just certain types of information that your own internal organization prefers to be displayed in a particular fashion. So there will always be the need to look at customizing and saying, okay, can we customize some of the standard reports that are available to us? Can we develop reports? Can we look at reports using already created system reports as templates? Just what is available to us. With certain options, do they require certain licensing, or with certain options, there's nothing that's required? So this is what we're going to do today. So when we're talking about customizing report layouts, or we're using a custom report layout, what we're saying is that we're going to be using D365 Business Central and the already created system reports that they would have already have in the system. Do we have therefore the functionality to use these reports as some form of template, and therefore create additional reports, what we would now call customized reports, and then applying the various formats and that we would to these customized reports to fit our needs? And the answer is yes. And this feature therefore rests on what is called the SQL Server Reporting Services, or SSRS engine, and it's used to handle what is called reporting in modern versions of now. So what I'm going to be going through here with you is anything post 2015 NAV up to D365, you will be able to create customized reports. So before we begin, we have to realize that there are two dataset approaches, and I'm not going to make any assumption. So, we're going to make sure that our terms are clearly defined. And when we're talking about a dataset, you're talking about a collection of related sets of information. So a dataset will be a subset of your entire database, or it might mean that what you want to report on is the entire database. But whatever you want to report on, that collection of information, that's called your data set. So if you're going to be using your data set as the basis of creating these layouts, there are two data set approaches. One, you can actually create your own data set from D365 Business Central SQL database to create your own custom reports. So if you have knowledge of the underlying tables, you can actually create a query that will be used as a data set, pulling data from the various tables, etc., so that you can use. But the challenge with this, while it is possible, is that if you're going to be creating your own data set, you would need the developer licenses. That's a requirement. So if you have an organization where you suspect that you're going to be doing your own customizing, you're developing your own customized reports, and you may not want to use the standard data sets which are given to you by D365, then you can get in touch with Visual. Visual is the one who introduced me. Visual is the one who knows how to handle all your licensing requirements. And he'll be able to tell you the best route to go about it. So that's the first approach, where you create your own data set in order to create your custom reports. But there's another data set approach, and that is where you can use an already provided D365 BC data set in order to create your custom reports. And these have two distinct advantages. One, there are no developer licenses which are required. But there is a limitation, and that is you're limited to the data fields which are supplied. So it is very possible that you might have a table with 100 or 150 fields, for example, but you're probably given a data set, even though while it's based on that table, you may not be given the full 100 or 150 fields. So that's a limitation. Also, if you use this approach, you are not able to customize the tables, but it gives one distinct advantage, is that you already have a data set that is prepared and ready for you. So now that you have decided on your data set approach, the next decision that you have to make is, okay, what is going to be your design approach? So after you have decided your data set, which is the link to your underlying tables and the approach you're going to take, you now have to say, okay, on top of that data set, how am I going to design my report? And there are two design approaches in D365 that's available. One, you can either create your own reports from scratch. So you can create a report from scratch, however, using a data set that is already provided for you in D365. Or you can create a custom report using an already existing D365 Business Central report as the template. And this saves time and effort. And when you're creating this report, all you have to do is just save it as a different name. And this is what we're going to be doing today as our demonstration. We're going to be showing you how you're going to create a custom report using an existing report as the template. And we'll show you how quickly you are able to save time and effort in doing this. And it's just a few easy steps. Now, for those of you who are familiar with the D365 outlay, you need to understand two particular menu items. One which is called the report layout section. And in the report layout section, it lists all your Business Central reports. And it's from the report layout section you're able to choose the layout that you will use as your template. And one of the other features of the report layout section, or rather selection, is that you can see all custom reports that are related to the standard report that you have chosen. The other menu item which will be important for you is the custom report layout. And the custom report layout displays all your customized reports that you would have developed. So custom report layouts, therefore, can be written in one of two forms. One which is called report definition language client side, or simply RDLC. So you're now saying, whoa, language, is therefore this a programming functionality? And the answer is no. So I would tell you, let not your heart be troubled by this long acronym of report definition language client side, because tools are supplied which just allow you to click and to drag and drop in your design template as you design reports. But this screen is just really to show you that when now you're doing your report layouts for your custom reports, you can use either RDLC, so going forward we'll just refer to it as RDLC. And just a little background on what the RDLC is about. The RDLC is created and edited using SQL Server Report Designer or the Report Builder. For us, we'll be using the SQL Server Report Builder. One, because it's free. Two, it comes automatically with SQL Server. Whenever you install SQL Server in your environment, the Report Builder is one of the tools that comes automatically with it. And also, by doing RDLC, it's based on what we call SSRS standard requirements, so standards and requirements. So most of the reporting that we would have, whether it's in NAV or in GP, and even AX in some instances, it's all these reports, or majority of these reports, are based on the SSRS standards and requirements. And because of that, RDLC is an important component. Also, your custom reports could be designed using Microsoft Word. So if you're familiar with Microsoft Word, you can actually create reports that will interface with your system. So you might ask, how is something like this, what benefit could something like this bring? And let me paint you a scenario. Let us say there's a special letter, for example, that you want to send to your customers who may be 90 days in arrears as far as their accounts receivable balances are concerned. You could actually design a Microsoft Word template with a standard letter, and using that Microsoft Word document as your template, you're able to superimpose your data fields from the report in this letter, and you will just simply design your record data set to only extract, for example, customers who are over 90 days in arrears, etc. And then you could have one standard report, and your system will just simply print out the reports, and you can email them to your delinquent customers. So that's just one easy example, or one simple example to explain how, if you use the Microsoft Word as your designing tool, what benefit could it bring you into the organization? So I just gave one example. So this is our final screen before we go now into our demonstration. So what are the steps, you may ask, if we're going to customize any of our reports? And for our example, we'll be using what is called a sales confirmation report. So as I have listed these steps here, this basically is the format or the template in all reports that you'd wish to customize in D365. So using our sales confirmation report, the first thing we're going to do, and I'll demonstrate it, is that we will type report layout selection rather, in the search bar. Then we search for report object 1305. 1305 is the object ID, the identification for the sales confirmation report. After we have identified the report, we will therefore click the Customs Report button, and that Customs Reports button will show us the listing of any customized reports which have already been made against report 1305, the sales confirmation report. We will then click the new button, and in clicking the new button, we'll be able to assign RDLC as the format, the design format that we'll be using for our report. Then we'll change the description. Then we'll export the custom report layout and save the file. Then we use Report Builder to make the modifications to the file. And then we will re-import the customized file and print the customized report. Now this might seem like much, but you may remember that we do make available our PowerPoint slides and our presentations to all our participants. So this is really just to be used as a guide for you. So therefore, in case you need a copy of the PowerPoint presentation. So without any further ado, let's go into our Dynamics or D365. So here we are. I've said, okay, let's look at our sales orders. And here we have a list of our sales orders. And if I should choose any of our sales orders, for example, and look here at the button in the ribbon which says order confirmation. Let's look at this particular report. If I should click on this menu and go help and say about this page, here I will get information on this report, and so it is with any report or document that is printed in D365, is that you are able to get information about the report or document that is going to be printed. And in our case, we recognize or we're told that this page or this report is called the sales order. And what's key is this number here, 1305. So 1305 is the actual object ID, the identification, the system identification number that D365 uses to get this report. So going back to our sales confirmation page, if I should now preview. So here we're seeing a standard sales confirmation report. But it might be that in your organization, they might say, listen, I like how this looks, but I would like maybe 3 basic modifications to the report. They might say to you, okay, I would like you to, in addition to the customer address and the company address, just somewhere in the middle, probably put the first 2 or 3 lines of the customer ship to address. So you might be asked, therefore, can we make that modification? And the answer will be yes, quite simple. And because you said quite simple, they said, okay, I would like 2 more modifications. Can you, for instance, instead of underlining the details header information here, can you, instead of it being underlined, change it to a box? And also, in order for the number, the description, the quantity, and these various subtitles to be shown, can you put a background color of, say, of a light gray? So we have 3 modifications to this standard report which have been asked for us to do. So the question is, okay, can this be done? And let's look. So remember I said the first thing you have to do before you do any modification, you have to identify what would have been the object ID number for the report. And in our case, it was 1305. So from our PowerPoint presentation, I said to you, if we just type report layout, good. So here we have 2 menu items which fit our search description of report layout. One is called the report layout selection. So in the report layout selection page, this lists all the reports that currently exist in D365. So how do we interpret this? Okay. For example, report ID 1 is called the chart of accounts. But currently, it is built in the RDLC format, so that's its default format. And when you see the word built-in, it means therefore that it's a system designed report. So many of the reports were designed in RDLC format, but if we were to scroll down, we would notice that some of the inbuilt reports are also built using Microsoft Word. So how do we search for our report, which we said was 1305? So we're searching for report ID. It says that's a sales confirmation report. So with our sales confirmation report, we now click custom layouts. So what is it saying to us? Moving from the report layout selection page where we selected sales confirmation, and by clicking customs layouts, we noticed that there were no custom layouts listed. It therefore means at the moment there are no customized reports which are designed using the sales confirmation template. And that's critical to note. So I'll say it again. By us not seeing any report listed in the custom reports layout page, we're in effect saying that for our sales confirmation report layout, there are no existing custom reports layouts that relate to the sales confirmation. So it therefore means we're going to create therefore our new custom report. So we click new, and what do you notice? With a new window that's coming up, it's actually saying that we're going to create a new report based on report 1305, which is our sales confirmation. And this report that we're going to do, it's going to be based on the RDLC layout. So we click OK. So now we have one customized report. The next thing we do is to type in a description. So we could call it sales confirmation with, let's say, ship to address. All right. So we now have a customized report, which is called a sales confirmation with ship to address. But this report is based on the format of the sales confirmation report, but it has not yet been edited. So how do we do this? The next step is to export the layout. So if you'll notice our export layout button, what we will do here What we will do here is we're exporting our customized report to a folder on our machine so that we'll be able to perform the customization. So I've created a folder on my C drive, which I've called custom reports. And here I will call it sales order with ship to address. So at this stage, this report is now saved on my computer. So if I should go into customs report, there's a list. So we have now created a copy of the report. So now we have to modify this report. I will search for report builder. And you may remember I said earlier that report builder is a tool that is provided free of cost when you install Microsoft SQL Server. So the report builder is a tool which I'll be using to make the necessary modifications to the report. And when I make the necessary modifications to the report, I will now save the revised document on the computer and then re-import it into D365 NAV. So let's search for the report. Custom report. Good. So I would tell you, do not be alarmed, because this is really, if you look at it, this is really simply like an Excel format. So this is the report that we had printed, but now it's in the RDLC layout format, which allows us to make the necessary adjustments. So let's describe what we're looking at here. Any item that you click on, good, whether it be a field, an image, etc., that is placed on the design palette, on the right-hand side is the properties field. So you can actually change the properties for any of these items which have been placed on the design palette. So you have some of the standard properties, for instance, how is it aligned, whether if it's aligned left or right, if there is any padding, any text aligning, the border color, etc. So in our case, we are saying for this report, we would like to put a border around this line. So I can actually highlight the line. So by clicking in this in the outermost left cell, I actually highlight the entire line, which is similar to how we do in Excel. I can look for one of the properties. For instance, in this case, I'm looking for border style. So currently there are no border style properties. What I can say, for me, I'd like to give a solid line around it. And not only that, let us see if there's anything we can look. We can say, okay, background, let's fill the background color, because we said we'll probably put a light gray background. So here, as you're making the changes, you'll notice that you're seeing it here in our customized template. So the first question you're probably saying, boy, what if I make mistakes? Will this have any implications on my NAV system? And the answer is no, because here's what is happening. Remember, what we have done is use a standard report that's in NAV, and we have copied that report. We have created a custom report by copying it, and we're now making modifications to the copy. So if you've made any mistakes, or if you saved it with a lot of errors, then it's just a matter of just deleting the file and starting the process again. So don't be afraid to experiment and even, to see what it looks like and say, I don't like this, I don't like how this looks. Yes, I like how this looks. It won't have any issues or challenges on your NAV system. So we've made two customized changes here now, where we said, okay, the background color, we want it to be in, into a kind of a light gray color. And also we want a border around all the items in this line. Now, I also said that one of the things we wanted to do was to probably insert as well the customer ship to address. You'll notice whenever we click in any of the cells, right, this button allows us to select the various fields that would have been in the data set. So what am I looking at here? This is the standard data set that comes with a report, and it's already pre-designed for you. So if you think back again in the earlier PowerPoint presentation, I said while this may be an easy approach, one of the downfalls is that you can only work with the fields that have been presented to you by NAV. So if your particular report will require fields, though they're in the table, but they're not in the data set, it might require you purchasing developer licenses. But more than likely, all the fields will be there. So we're looking for ship to address. So remember, we were asked to put maybe the first 3 ship to addresses. And there it is, easy. So I'm saying ship 1, oops, let's get this back. I'm having a problem with my mouse here. Come on, let's get this properly. I'll just go down to ship 2. So I'm looking for my ship to address 2. Good. So we're saying here that for this customization, we're now going to include 2 ship to addresses. So on the right hand side, as we said, we have the properties for the various fields or elements that are placed on our design palette. And you may ask, therefore, okay, what is this on the left? Here is information about our actual report data. And here's a listing of all the fields coming from our data set. But you also have the ability to also include things like images. So if I were to right click, then I could select add image, and then a pop-up window would come up asking me to insert the JPEG file. It defaults to JPEG because for those of you who are in graphics would remember that JPEG files tend to have a smaller file size when compared to bitmap and other type of formats. So we have done now 3 simple configurations. So I now say file save. And exit. So we have just created our report. So the next thing that we're going to have to do is to import our revised file. So let's look again. So I'm back in NAV. And you'll notice I now say import layout. I now search in my custom reports. And what I'm saying is that this file, which is now the revised file, when I now open it, I have now updated or imported the updated customized report. So it has not done anything to the original report, good, but our customized report. And then I click OK. So that's from my custom report layouts. So now that we have done that, we now have just one final thing to do, and it's this. Back to our report layout selection where we selected our 1305 sales confirmation report, which currently is set to use its own RDLC built-in report. This is where now I now say that the report, which is a sales confirmation report, will no longer use the inbuilt report format, but will now use the customized report, which I designed. And we do this by clicking the drop down, and we now say custom layout. and in you selecting the custom layout, the custom report layout comes up with the report that was customized. And we select it and we click OK. So you'll notice now this report now uses the custom layout, which is this report. It therefore means if we now go back to our sales order and go to our order confirmation and preview it, we will now notice that we have here our fields, which were the ship to address. So that does come up, and you'll notice now that we have our background color for our description headings. And that in a nutshell is a basic way of how you can use the customization tool. As I said, there are different options which are available to you. And by the way, the original report is not gone, because it would just simply mean that we would go back again into report layout selection and point this report back to the inbuilt RDLC report, and everything would come back. So as I've said, as we end this demo, is that it's very easy to customize reports, but a lot will depend on how you want to get it done, because depending on your approach, it might require you to purchase additional licenses. But if it's just a matter where you want to make maybe cosmetic, or it does not even have to be cosmetic changes, you might actually want to develop your own report from scratch. Right? But if you develop your report from scratch, you must remember that in developing your report from scratch without using any of these built-in reports as your template, you will still be limited by the fields that are available in the data set. If you want to create your own data sets or to modify the data sets, it might require you purchasing the additional licensing. And you can easily contact Optimus and contact Visual, who would be more than willing to assist. But the key thing to remember is that once you spend some time in the report builder tool, you'll recognize that it's easy to create customized reports. So that's my presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. I don't know if there are any questions.